recently got the Softube Tape Echoes plugin, which I love. Been using it on loads of stuff. I'm a big fan of reverb, delays, particularly kind of delays that model old units like Space Echoes, or this one is using, different algorithms modeling different like real life tape heads and stuff. Love it, big into that. And I often combine within the same session. I'll probably have like 3 or 4 different types of delay going on for different things. I thought I'd just try out some settings on this Tape Echoes and using my Juno modeling plugin, which is by TAL Audio, called the TAL Juno LX, which is just this. Real simple. The main hook is this piano loop. Just 2 chords, little melody. And just the Logic drummer doing a kind of groovy, minimal kind of jazzy beat. And so often to create a sense of movement or space or atmosphere or just texture, all those kind of good things, and not to have a sound that's just too flat and dry, often I'll use these kind of things, these kind of tools. So all I'm going to do is like run through the presets for now, because I'm still learning about this plugin and I feel like it might be cool if you're thinking of buying it or wanting to kind of hear what it sounds like. Yeah. The Juno with this first preset, Bathtub Alligator. Very nice. That's 100% wet as well. So go into the dry wet knob on the right here. The inbuilt spring reverb on this unit is amazing. Really love it. So that's also, that first preset, Bathtub Alligator, everything is 100% wet. So that's probably meant to be used as on an auxiliary channel, not as an insert. So next up, Canyon Edge. More subtle. Nice, just giving it some width. Yeah, that's just a really long, slow, syncopated delay. And there's 2 of these, Canyon Edge 2. Yeah, that one's got a lot more warble and flutter. Sounds awesome. So next up, Dub Royale. Okay, this is loaded up at 100% wet. Nice. Loads of reverb, loads of warble. If I bring that back to less wet. And you can change the imaging on this using the imaging tab here. You can see it says lean left, lean right. So right now this is set to more leaning right, and I could tell when I was listening to it, like this has kind of got a sense of everything being kind of shifted to the right a little bit. You could probably tell too. Go more in the center. Anyway, you get the idea. So Eleanor's Iron Ore. That's a nice subtle one. Very nice. Okay, next up, Eternity. Don't know why that's called Eternity. This doesn't go on forever. Okay, well it's nice though. So preset favorite 8D. Interesting. Yeah, nice reverb and delay together. Ferrous thread, the next one. These presets are just starting points really, aren't they? You wouldn't necessarily always just jump straight to a preset and use that, but although they can be very cool. Play around with the sliders, play around with the knobs, and there's a setting where you can actually just have on the left, so all the way to the left. It actually takes off the delays and you're just using the heads processing to kind of get a dirty texture. And you can increase that, increase the drive. And that's actually just adding a little bit of a sense of space to the sound still. So if I hear it with and without, that's with. So it's not really using any delay, but it's got the dirt and the drive up. And because this knob here does the amount of kind of dropouts and the flutter, that's still active. So you can still get this sense of sort of like a chorusy type thing, but more random. That could be really great on the lead synth or really great on some pads. This particular synth is really good at pads, really good at leads, and this kind of effect, you know, just would really just help something become a bit more alive, a bit more interesting and spacious. Compared to off. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, there's loads of presets. I won't have time to go through all of them, but I'm going to scroll down and see. So like, oh, reverb, just reverb. Okay, so let's have a listen to this one, which is obviously just the reverb. Very nice. It's a really nice reverb, very, very convincing and real. So I'd be happy to use that as a reverb, to be honest with you. It sounds like really nice. I often do that if I have a group of synthesizers that are like kind of textural and pad type sounds, and also other synths and instruments like guitars and things that are doing more percussive sounds or more like upfront melodic sounds. I would take the whole group of synths as a group and put a wet reverb, put them in through a reverb that's completely 100% wet, but not too long a reverb, and then it just means that there's suddenly a separation between the lead lines, the lead parts, and the pads. You still hear the pads, they still sound great, but you just have they're in a space of their own, and then the other sounds, in contrast to those sounds, are actually not in that same space, and that's where you get depth and space within a mix. So, you know, that's an example of that Juno sound being 100% wet. If I load up this other Prophet sound, which I had below, which is also quite dry, it's completely dry, no reverb or anything. So if I contrast that with these two sounds, it's a really nice combo. And because the drums are really dry as well, it's just creating that space. Love it. Yeah, and you've got other things like jet flanging, which is where there'll be just a kind of timing discrepancy between the tape heads, creating a sort of flanging type effect. That would be lovely to use as a send on a vocal or a send on a lead line. This is the 100% wet signal, but if you just blend a bit in, just blend a touch in on the wet knob there, that's where you're getting subtle movement, and subtle is always good. Small things like that I build up over a mix. Okay, so let's have a look at pick out some other ones. So Lo-Fi Machine, loads of warble. You know, lo-fi is all about being lo-fi, so having low fidelity, and you can turn up the dirt knob here and make the kind of clean or bad, and bad I guess means just older and crustier and not serviced in a while, and the tape may be a bit old and weak. Makes the sound move around. And you've got the filters here on the left. You've got low cut and high cut, and the drive, so you can actually really shape the sound. If you've got it 100% wet, these are going to be like EQs for your whole signal. Let's try one more. Let's say we haven't really got a vocal in this track, so I won't really use a vocal, but those I have used and they're great. Okay, Widener Mojo 2. So yeah, some of these are doing similar things, these presets, but the job they're doing, you know, a sense of widening, movement, just interest, you know, making something that's a bit more sound more interesting. Now that Juno is just kind of moving around, doing its thing.